Welcome, 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 welcome to my favorite corner of Seattle. It's specifically in West Seattle, really close to where I lived when I first moved here. And the reason this space is one of my favorites is because of the stream that's running behind me all the way up, and right behind the camera it drops off into a little waterfall. But also, this was one of the last places in Seattle that I talked to my grandma on the phone. I used to set up my hammock in the woods back there, and I would read, and I would call her, and I would talk with her for hours. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting on her and connecting with her as now my ancestor. And one of the biggest things that has been coming through to me was that I wasn't there when she passed away, and I've been reflecting on that a lot. And I think it's important to share and talk about, because death always feels like this sword to the heart, and I don't want it to be, especially in the conversations that I'm having with friends and students and clients. And yeah, so here I am, hoping that we can take just 10 minutes out of our day to sort of meditate on the idea of death, especially as we move into this new astrological year. We're ending Pisces season, the two fish, that really emotional, water-filled, heavy. It's at the end. It's the 12th sign. I always think about my mom, who is also a Pisces, and emotions are big. And she is a multitude of things, and she's always transmuting and changing. And yeah, that's what I think about, are my Pisces friends and parents. But the other thing that I wanted to mention was that we are having a new moon this weekend, and we are moving into Aries season, a season of fire, the start of the astrological year. And a great way to sort of commemorate this time is to look at the last year, look at the death, look at the rebirth that can come from this new cycle beginning. And how does that sort of transmute back into our day, back into our life, back into the way that we deal with our loved ones and how we support them. So I wanted to take a few moments to just sort of invite ourselves into the space that we hold right now. And I like to do that with 3 breaths. So if you want to follow me, we'll inhale, reach the fingertips nice and wide. And exhale, hands to heart center, bow the head, and just thank the universe. Thank whatever higher power calls to you. Maybe it's the stars. And this next breath, inhale all the way up and around. And exhale, hands to heart center, just bow and thank all of the spirit animals around you. Whether that's a dog laying next to you, whether that's some animal that you feel connected to, or a past pet. And this last breath, inhale all the way up and around. And exhale, just thank and bow to your ancestors, inviting them into the space with you, allowing them to be here. Hands come to the knees, and just take a nice big breath in, roll the shoulders back, fill the belly, shine the heart. And as you exhale, curl to round, bring the chin to the chest, press the spine to the wall behind you, let it go. 2 more just like that, inhale up. Exhale, curl to round, think about your cat pose. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Beautiful, all right. And you could bring one hand to the heart, one to the belly. That's my personal favorite space to bring the hands and the attention so that you can stay nice and close to the breath. And what does it feel like here in these first few moments as you take a moment away from everything else, giving yourself a chance to do absolutely nothing today? Does it make you uncomfortable? Does it make you happy that you chose to step away? Do you feel tension in the face? Do you even feel the heart rate and the breath? And so as you start to invite yourself into this space, I like to close the eyes. Maybe it's sort of just swaying side to side across the sit bones. Thinking about grounding down through the hips, through the butt, growing roots down into the earth, just like a tree. And then I want you to focus on pulling the breath all the way into the deep low belly so that you can feel the hand on the belly expand with that breath. And on the exhale, sigh it out audibly as loud as you can. Another one just like that. Inhale. And exhale. All right, last one. Inhale. And exhale. And so the tip of the tongue can come behind the two front teeth, and that will be your focal point here through practice. As you press the tongue to the roof of the mouth, you'll notice that the sensation might change. So we have all these nerve endings on the roof of our mouth, and when we bring the presence of the tongue there, we are indicating and telling the rest of the body that it's time to relax. It's time to slow down. It's time to just be right here. There's no need to fight or flight. There's no need to run. And you still might very well be having some anxiety show up. It may be hard to sit here, and that's completely normal. We can't expect going 100 miles a moment to just being able to sit and do absolutely nothing. It takes patience, practice. You may continue with that really big inhale, pulling it all the way down into the belly button, down into the hips. And as you exhale, notice if there's anything being released. I always like to remind myself at the beginning of meditating that the goal here is not to have any zero thoughts. Like, we will most definitely have thoughts over the next few moments. The reason we're here meditating is to access the noticing, the essence of awareness, the ability to see what we're focusing on, concentrating on, what we're giving energy to, so that we can take that focus and that concentration back out into the world with us. So if you start to catch yourself thinking about what you're going to eat later or what you're going to do, try not to bring judgment. Just bring that curiosity of, oh, okay, I'm thinking about wanting to eat, or I'm thinking about being sad, or I'm thinking about this person. And I relate that to the clouds. So if you've ever been on the side of a mountain just staring up at the sky, and maybe a cloud starts to look like an elephant, and maybe the next cloud starts to look like a cat curled up. And that noticing, that labeling, that's what we do with our thoughts. We just say, hey, okay, I'm looking at that, I'm noticing that. And then we pop over to the next cloud or the next thought. And we celebrate that moment where we catch ourselves trailing off, thinking about what we still have to do or what's on our to-do list. And so now that you've been seated here for a bit, what sensations are you starting to notice? Is the heart rate maybe showing up a little bit bigger? Maybe you can feel it under the hand on the heart. Is the breath still showing up in the deep low belly, or is it stuck primarily on the heart space, where a lot of our fear and anxiety lives? I know that if I haven't meditated in a while or moved my body, that a lot of times my breath is stuck in my throat. It's stuck on my chest, and that usually feels like anxiety or pain or just this like constriction. But when I start to breathe down into that deep low belly, I find my intuition, that inner knowing. Sometimes I like to call it our second brain. Notice if you're tensing in the jaw, if you're clenching the teeth. Maybe try to wiggle the jaw back and forth. Bring the tip of the tongue back behind the two front teeth. And just be right here for just a few more moments. What does it feel like to be in your body right now? Do you feel sad? Do you feel happy? Do you feel open and available? Or do you feel closed off and constricted? And everything is welcome. There's no right or wrong. There isn't one that's better than the other. It's just noticing. And that perspective, that ability to notice, we can take that with us. Off of the mat or off of the seat, wherever we're seated, we can take that into our day and bring that into the way that we interact with our loved ones. Bringing that curiosity, noticing. And start to pull the breath back down into the deep low belly. We'll take 3 more long, big inhales and exhales. Last one, inhale. Start to invite a wiggle into the toes and the fingers, and we'll close the container, the space, with a little bit of respect and reverence, just the way we started. So inhale, reach the fingertips all the way up, take a big breath in, and exhale, pull the hands to the heart center, bow the head. Inhale, reach up and around. Exhale, hands to heart center, bow the head. Last one, inhale all the way up. Exhale, bow to that. And I thank you all so much for practicing with me. I'll see you again soon, and hopefully somewhere cool.